Hello, beautiful and powerful women. Welcome to Susan Unleashed. This podcast is for any woman who wants to live a gorgeous life on her terms and who knows that not only is being a woman enough, it is the key to everything. I'm your host, Susan Elizabeth, certified professional coach, #1 best-selling author, and Energy Leadership Index master practitioner. I fiercely support women who are passionate about elevating their lives while embracing their truest selves. Are you ready to unleash your power? Hello, gorgeous women. Welcome to this week's episode. This is about practice detaching from the outcome, give up control. So I don't know about you, but I was a control freak for most of my life. And underneath my control, I had some serious issues with a lot of things because I wanted to control everything in my life, people, situations, everything. Underneath all of that, I had discovered over time were fear-based thoughts, fear-based feelings. Like I felt fear, so I wanted to just control everything. Now, I love the quote by Buddha that says, "The root of suffering is attachment." And I know in my life that I am not an ordinary woman, and neither are any of you. You are, and I am. We are extraordinary women creating extraordinary lives. And when I was really doing my personal development work and moving through my life and really discovering how to have more ease and flow in my life and really understanding what was underneath all of that control, was fear. And fear, again, I love the acronym. It's like forget everything and run, false evidence appearing real. And when you recognize that I had fear-based thoughts and I had fear as a feeling, and then I could discover through my journey and personal development what was driving that. So it was a fear of not being, actually not being good enough, not being accepted, not being strong enough or perceived as strong enough, not being perceived as being all put together. So, and also fear of, the unknown, fear of things randomly happening. So I was always planning and controlling. And it came down to a lot of fear around self-worth issues and in my life. And I think that's the root cause of so many of our issues, especially as women. I mean, it's like an epidemic. So when I was courageous enough to look underneath all of my controlling behaviors and make these discoveries, it was a realization because first you have to have awareness. Second, you have to have acceptance. And then you can create that change and transformation that we're all wanting in our lives. So with my fears, I was always worried about, what will they think? I mean, who here has done that? I have. I know so many of us have. A lot of my clients have, especially as women, right? And I was always carrying this around with me. So in my life, I was always challenged with what I thought was trying to be perfect and trying to be, really perceived as strong, as the independent, strong woman. And I thought that the life that I had created, if I could just control everything was going to be okay. It was going to feel safe. But in actuality, it was exhausting. It was actually pretty excruciating. I was constantly, if any little thing didn't go according to plan, I wouldn't have a meltdown, but I was not okay. It didn't feel good because I had controlled everything in my life. I mean, I was alone most of my life and I wanted it that way, but I grew tired. I grew angry. I was out of alignment. I was not in harmony. And as I was moving through life for years, I was always, striving to control everything in my life. So when I actually got real And again, I've been doing personal development a long time, but when I got really real and I was ready to look at that part of my life of why was I wanting things to be perfect? Why was I wanting to control everything? And I really discovered that excruciating part of me that I didn't feel like I was going to be good enough. That's what I thought. That's the thought in my mind. That was what was in my brain. And it was debilitating. So when I stepped back and I realized that I could start trusting because I didn't really fully trust, I was able to soften. I was able to step in the flow. It was very freeing to me. It was a sense of freedom when I had learned that. Now, again, this didn't happen overnight, but when I had learned that through a lot of work and taking little steps, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to do this for any of you who have some control issues or some fear issues around not, with really detaching from the outcome and really being fixated on making sure everything is exactly how you want it to be. But when you get honest with yourself and you understand what's beneath that and you can work on that part of you and then do something about it, that's when you can move forward. That's when you can shift into places and feel that sense of ease and flow. So I want to give you a couple of tips on how to do this. So first tip, embrace trust. Like, no kidding, really embody it and embrace it. First, you have to embrace it before you embody it. And for me, there were many things that happened in my life and I decided to just close up shop. Like, not open. Nope, I'm not going to trust. If I don't control it, it doesn't come from me. I'm not trusting anyone or anything. And I didn't in relationships, family, career, friends. I didn't full on trust. But when you surrender and you embody learning how to trust yourself, and when I did that, then I realized I could then trust with discernment others. I could trust others with discernment. But that takes time and it's hard to do, but I learned to do it. But when I did that, I was starting to experience that freedom and that liberation from what I was doing my whole life, which was basically controlling everything. So another thing that I learned how to do was to ask for support and ask for guidance. So I did that with my coach, and she could see this in me way before I could, probably for years. And when I finally got to the place where I could start asking for support and asking for help, whatever felt right for me, that's when I started also getting the support I needed. And I realized people weren't judging me. And I started making a joke about it with my friends and my family, even a partner I had at the time. And it was helping to shift things and change things. Another tip is to really list out your fears. Like, once you discover what's underneath the control, because you have to, first of all, you have to be aware, I have a control issue. Second, what's underneath that? And you keep going deeper and deeper. And I love guiding my clients beneath that. I sit in the question with them and we just go underneath and we keep digging. What is underneath the fear? What is underneath first of all, what's underneath the control? What's underneath the fear? What's underneath whatever it is going on? But when you write out all your fears, you list them out, it starts to kind of dissipate. It starts to bring in awareness, and you're able to then recognize that and realize these are just thoughts in my mind that are creating these things that really are not the truth. And that's why I love Byron Katie's work. If you're not familiar with it, look up her work sometime. Watch some stuff online about her. She's quite amazing. And I was able to sit with that and kind of do the work around that. So another thing that I did that was really hard, so another tip for you, is to really embrace the uncertainty of the unknown. Hard to do. Didn't happen overnight. It took a long time. But when I started doing this, it opened up a freedom and a creativity within me, and then an allowance to just go with the flow of life. And I felt a sense of ease that I hadn't felt. Like, everything was really hard. It was really forced. Everything wanted to be perfectly placed in my life, controlling in my life. And when I was able to sit in the flow of life, and again, this didn't happen overnight. This takes time to evolve, to transform, to change, and to let go of control. when I started really embracing the unknown, I discovered surprises that were delights. Of course, there were surprises that were a little uncomfortable, but it's like a muscle. When I started becoming, just putting myself out there and not planning my whole life and doing things that were based on maybe fear-based thoughts, I could show up for life more fully and more present. It was huge, huge. And then another thing is really taking tiny daily action steps as well. Like tiny little daily action steps each day, one foot in front of the other. And when you do this, after you realize, you dig underneath and you sit in the question and you create this awareness in your life, then you're able to move forward and take that action so you can create that transformation and change. And then just accepting, like the acceptance of what is. Detach from the outcome. Just go show up for life. Practice just accepting what is. Situations, others, whatever that is, accept it. And then last, I want you to visualize. Visualize the flow, the freedom, the ease, and the support. Visualize yourself. Visualize the support by universe, whatever that looks like for you. I want you to visualize and use the power of your imagination to actually feel what it might feel like to put yourself in situations where if you detach from the outcome, like let it go. Like just visualize it's all going to be okay. You're going to have the support. But guess what? You have your own back. As a strong and powerful women, that's what we do. We have our own backs. And just knowing that we trust in ourselves, that no matter what happens, you're going to handle it. You got this. What's even going to the place of what is the worst thing that can happen? That's like the magical question that I love to ask my coaching clients. Like, let's go there. Go to the worst possible thing that'll happen. And then it's not so bad, is it? Because you'll figure out what to do. You know what to do. Think about it. So again, I believe we are extraordinary women having these extraordinary lives, creating our extraordinary lives and our extraordinary selves in this one life. And we're doing this a day at a time and coming back to just detaching from the outcome, giving up control, practicing that detachment and just accepting what is. That is when your life is going to shift. That is when you're going to have this awareness and the understanding going underneath what is going on for you, the fear, the self-worth issues, not wanting to feel bad feelings, whatever that is for you, go there and practice some of these tips. And when you do that, I promise you, life will shift. And get the support of a coach, a group, a friend, whatever that is. Find it and then continue on your journey. And thank you for being a part of the community. I look forward every week to bringing a podcast to you, to bringing this to you so we can have these conversations, because really we're all in this together. We're extraordinary women having extraordinary lives that we design. So until next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would leave me a review or share it with someone else who may enjoy it too. To stay connected with me, please head on over to SusanElizabethCoaching.com and make sure that you sign up for my tips on how to live an unleashed life full of passion and purpose. Until next time, go live an unleashed life.